This is Shoma Honami, the architect behind the most infamous team in Pokemon history. Shoma Honami is the 2015 Masters Division World Champion and the mastermind behind the most iconic team competitive Pokemon has ever seen. No matter how deep you are in the VGC world, you probably have heard of the Chalk team. And for good reason. As you'll soon find out, this team didn't just win Shoma Honami a few tournaments. No, at one point in VGC history, it dominated the world, reshaped the meta, and became a permanent part of Pokemon history. But what you probably don't know is the story of the player behind the blueprint. The path that led Shoma to the world stage, and how years after it all began, his journey became the spark behind one of the longest running debates in competitive Pokemon. So let's look at this journey and find out how Shoma Honami conquered the Pokemon world. Hey champs, my name is Professor Josh and I specialize in Pokemon VGC history and lore. If that sort of thing interests you, check out my channel where I dive into the most iconic moments, legendary trainers, and unforgettable battles in VGC. Now this video isn't about Chalk itself or the endless bloviating about what it represents. If that's the discussion you're looking for, I recommend checking out a video by PokeTuber Wolfglick. I will link it in the description. In fact, think of this video as a prequel to that one. You watch this one, then you watch that one, and then after that you'll be able to brag to everyone you know that you know the full history of Chalk. Trust me, it's worth it. And hey, I don't mind shouting out smaller content creators. I am benevolent like that, I guess. Okay, anyway. Shoma Honami has always been competitive at heart. So when his high school clubmates got into competitive Pokemon, it didn't take long for him to get swept up in the competition too. From the very beginning, Shoma had one goal in mind: to become the best player in all of Japan. At the time, I was a high school student and I became interested in Pokemon battles due to the influence of my clubmates. So I started studying the basics. I liked the official rules, so instead of single battles, I started double battles straight away. Late in the 2009 competitive season, Shoma built his first team. It featured a Focus Sash Infernape with Encore, a disruptive move that locks an opposing Pokemon into their last action, along with Choice Scarf Togekiss, Salamence, and Rindoberry Swampert. What is a Rindoberry? Weakens a super effective grass type attack against the holding Pokemon. If you already knew that, let me know in the comments. I will be calling you a liar. Now this team wasn't exactly strong, but even in the early versions, you can see traces of Shoma's preferred style. Bulky Pokemon with control elements sprinkled throughout the team. It wouldn't be until the following year that the young aspiring champion entered his first official tournament, held in Japan's Hyogo Prefecture. Once again, he leaned into bulk and disruption, this time using Trick Room Palkia and Choice Scarf Metagross with the move Trick, which swaps the user's item with the item of its target. Being his first official event, things went about as well as you might expect. He was eliminated fairly early in the tournament. Still, Shoma wasn't discouraged. He gave it another go the same year, entering the West Japan Last Chance qualifier for a shot at the Pokemon World Championships. But this time, he was knocked out even earlier. But like any good player, he learned a lot through his defeats. I lost in the third round of the preliminary stage due to mishaps like double protecting by mistake and failing, and Giratina getting taken down by a critical hit happening. I couldn't have done anything about the crit on Giratina, but double protecting because I wasn't paying attention really laid my inexperience bare. Heading into the next season, Shoma knew he still had a lot to work on. His dreams of becoming the best player in Japan hadn't changed, and his fundamentals were improving. But even with all that growth, he was still prone to small, costly mistakes. In Japan's competitive scene, the margin for error was razor thin. At the time, the Japanese circuit was structured around a harsh qualification system. To reach the Zenkoko Taikai, Japan's national tournament, players had to earn their spot through an online event called the Japan Cup. This meant if Shoma wanted to compete on the national stage, he would have to be one of the top 64 players in the entire tournament. Except this year, it wasn't top 64. It wasn't even top 32.
And 2012 was really bad because only 6 people from the Japan Cup made it to nationals, and those 6 people were chosen somewhat randomly from the top finishers. No one actually knew how they were picked, and out of those 6 people, only 2 made it to Worlds again.
Shoma didn't make it to Japan's national tournament that year, but that doesn't mean he wasn't playing well. In fact, his gameplay had improved a lot, and the team he brought to the Japan Cup hinted at a style that would later define him. It featured his favorite Pokemon Cresselia with Trick Room, plus Politoed and Kingdra as disruptive weather tools. And then there was Scrafty, holding a Persim Berry. Persim berries are berries that cure confusion. Again, I'll call you a liar. For context, 2013 would go on to become a pretty important year in the history of the Pokemon Video Game Championship.
Pocket Monster Black 2 White 2.
This was the year of Pokemon Black and White 2, marking the first time the competitive circuit would be played on these games. And like with any new generation, the scene was flooded with fresh, innovative players. For context, the eventual world champion that year, Arash Ahmadi, had only just started playing before the season began. The global competition was getting tougher by the day. Champs, if you've made it this far in the video, you're probably enjoying the story of prolific player Shoma Honami. If that's the case, then please consider liking the video. It's free and it lets me know you want more of these explorations into the history of iconic but often overlooked trainers in the competitive Pokemon scene. And if you want to catch the next one, then subscribing goes a long way. Back at home, Shoma was more determined than ever to become the best player in all of Japan. He fully committed to mastering team building, entering every grassroots tournament he could find and building a new team for each one. When the 2013 Japan Cup rolled around, his efforts paid off. He finished in 12th place, and this time, a top 32 finish was finally enough to qualify for the national tournament. This meant that Shoma Honami was heading to the biggest Japan exclusive event of the entire year. This feels like a good moment to pause and add some context. Up until this point, it might sound like Shoma Honami was a talented but relatively unknown player. Internationally, that was sort of true, but within Japan's close-knit VGC community, Shoma was already seen as one of the best players. Reaching the national stage was more about proving to the rest of the world what the Japanese scene already knew. For this tournament, Shoma brought a team featuring many of his favorite Pokemon: Cresselia, Landorus Therian, Heatran, Life Orb Conkeldurr, Thundurus Therian, and Choice Scarf Latios. It may not have been called chalk yet, but this team already had most of the core that would eventually define one of the most infamous archetypes in competitive history. Oh, thank God. No weird berries. Shoma has always been a competitive person, and at the 2013 Japan Nationals, he fought tooth and nail to prove he was the best player in the country. But things didn't go the way he hoped. He barely scraped through the preliminary round, and once in top cut, he was immediately eliminated by Yuki Matsumoto. That loss hit hard. Unfortunately, this tournament marked the beginning of a tough stretch in Shoma's competitive career, one that carried into 2014. Just like before, he performed well in the Japan Cup, only to fall short again at the 2014 national tournament.
Nevertheless, I had confidence in the team and that I was the strongest in Japan, but proceeded to crash out of the preliminaries with 1 win and 2 losses. In the end, I didn't display the caliber befitting of the #1 player in Japan.
His dream of taking the national title, and with it a shot at the World Championship, kept slipping just out of reach, and the pressure was building. Graduation was approaching, and with it came the end of his time as a student. That mattered, because to Shoma, being a student gave him the time and flexibility to truly compete at his best. This is one of those like anime protagonists staring into the rain type of moments. I'm gonna put the Vegeta meme, note to me, put the Vegeta meme in right here. Cool. Still, the last few years weren't wasted. In his prep for 2014 Japan Nationals, Shoma mastered a style he really clicked with: bulky offense built around Mega Kangaskhan. Paired with strong support like Amoonguss, this strategy gave him enough defense to stabilize and just enough offense to hit back hard. Now the questions were louder than ever. Had he learned from his mistakes? Had he truly mastered team building? Was he the caliber of player who could finally be the best of the best? Now let's clear up a big misconception about Pokemon VGC in 2015. Today, the Chalk team is remembered as the team that defined the season, but for players living through the year, it didn't feel that way. Even with its growing popularity in Japan, Chalk wasn't seen as the team. It was just seen as one of many viable options. And so at the start of the 2015 season, Shoma Honami stood on the precipice of something unremarkable or something truly legendary.
I was pretty sure that I was by far the strongest from the start of this ORIS National Dex double rule set. I'm a confident man, surpassing a rating of 1800 on both my cartridges. I took first place and qualified for my third Nationals. However, it was kind of depressing as past Nationals had been nothing but trauma for me. The feeling of losing at Nationals is a really awful feeling that is hard to put into words.
Heading into the 2015 Japan National Tournament, one of his final chances to prove he was the best player in Japan before graduation, Shoma made sure to take his time. He applied every lesson from his years of competing. He was a student of the game, and every failure had become part of his new foundation. As the tournament progressed, Shoma began picking up win after win. His confidence grew with each round. Eventually, he believed that if he could just reach top cut, he would win the entire tournament.
見事勝利を収めたのは本並翔馬選手です。おめでとうございます。おめでとうございます。
And he did. Shoma Honami won the 2015 Japan National Tournament with a team designed to highlight his greatest strength as a player. Cresselia, Heatran, Amoonguss, Landorus Therian, Kangaskhan, and Charizard. He had finally done it. Reached the goal set for himself back when he was just a high school student playing Pokemon with his clubmates. Shoma was now officially the best player in all of Japan. But the story doesn't end here. With his national victory, an even greater opportunity appeared in front of our champion, the 2015 Pokemon World Championship. In the weeks between Nationals and Worlds, Shoma made a few small changes to his team. Most notably, he replaced Charizard with a bulkier version of Thundurus to adapt to the shifting meta. From there, he practiced, prepared, and for the first time, boarded a flight to Boston, Massachusetts for the biggest tournament of his life. Shoma Honami's World Championship run is the stuff of legend. Thanks to his strong prior results, he was allowed to skip day 1 and began his tournament on day 2, the most difficult stage of the competition. He won 5 of his 7 matches that day. In round 7, he even defeated none other than Seijin Park, the defending world champion. But that wasn't even the biggest moment for Shoma in this tournament. You see, in the round before that, Shoma had been handed a crushing 2-0 loss by Daiki Moriyama. That match stung, and it wasn't over, because as Shoma entered the top cut after beating Seijin, the first trainer standing in his path to the top was once again Daiki Moriyama.
I also faced him in round 6 of the preliminaries, and I was so defeated that I almost cried.
But this time, Shoma was ready. He leaned into the bulk of his Heatran, slowing the battle down and forcing Daiki into a series of unfavorable trades. The first hurdle of his path to the title was cleared. In the semifinals, he faced Naoto Mizubuki, another top player running their own version of the Chalk team. But as they say, the master has failed more times than the student has tried. Shoma, the team's original architect, leveraged his experience to overwhelm his opponent. Another hurdle was cleared. On to the final round. There he faced Ryuki Taida, a fellow Japanese player and, at the time, one of the most respected names in the scene. The finals were intense, but Shoma quickly realized that his faster Kangaskhan, Thundurus, and Landorus gave him a clear edge. By exploiting these key differences between their teams, Shoma once again proved that he was the best in Japan. Actually, no. On that warm August day in 2015, Shoma proved something even greater. He wasn't just the strongest player in Japan, he was the strongest player in the world. Champs, the impact of Shoma's win and his team has echoed throughout the competitive scene ever since. The success of Chalk sparked one of the longest running debates in VGC history. For some, it showed how dangerously centralizing certain team structures can be. For others, it redefined what control playstyle really meant. And again, if you want to continue the story of Chalk, I recommend checking out Wolf's video using this one as a prequel to that discussion. But no matter what your thoughts are on Chalk, Shoma Honami's story stands as one of the greatest in competitive Pokemon. In many ways, he lived out a dream that so many of us have shared. He was a competitive person from the start and used that drive to become one of the strongest players in the world. He won with the team he designed, built around his favorite Pokemon, and brought it to the top. And even after that, like so many champions before and after him, winning Worlds wasn't the end. It was just another step toward a brand new goal.
Finally, I'm going to work hard to try and defend my championship, so please support me. Just watch. I'm going to become a pro Pokemon player.
Thanks for watching.
Pika pika.
Hey, so during my research for the video, I came across Shoma's YouTube channel, and I will link his channel in the description of this one. You should go check it out. He is a super talented Pokemon player. You should really look into it. He's got an amazing way of just approaching the game, but he's also like a really, really good singer. And in fact, I am probably playing his music in the background right now. So you should check out his covers. I have been listening to him like every single day since I started researching for this video. His stuff is like so good. He is such a talented guy. I don't really have an ending to this little section. I just wanted to shout him out a little bit. Thanks for watching to the very end, and I will see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.